Hey everyone, this is Dave A. Gardner, and you're listening to the Heart of Juliet Jones fan fiction podcast. This is Billy Cooper Comes to Town, Part 2. Bang, 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 and more bangs, and ding, zing, and back to the bang, bang, and one more bang for good measure. The sound of Julie's typewriter keys hitting the page was not unlike the rifle shots at a firing range with a big round bullseye over the crotch of one William G. Cooper, Esquire. Seriously, the man had crossed the line before in his editorials, and Julie had simply rolled her eyes. But this time, he had gone too far. It was one thing that Mr. Cooper was one of the most infamous journalists this side of the Potomac, and it was an entirely different ballgame, though, when he had to stretch his big fat ego out onto the op-ed section of the Times and write against unmarried women over the age of 21. Just because Julie happened to be one of them didn't make matters any worse. Now, what was another synonym for dirty, stinking, filthy, rat-infested? Julie's thoughts were interrupted by Eve, who had been casually sitting on the couch, observing her older sister out of the corner of her eye, while immersed in the latest paperback romance by her favorite author, Dave A. Gardner. "Don't tell me," Eve said. "You're actually writing an irate letter to the editor." Julie lifted her typewriter from the floor, where she'd been lying on her stomach and typing, and brought it over to the desk. "Men like William Cooper," Julie said, "have to be brought up short every now and again, sister." The typewriter slammed onto the desk with a thud and a ding. "If not," Julie continued, wrenching the letter out of the typewriter with one hand on the paper and the other on the side wheel, "and their views are accepted, our sex will wind up in a permanent state of mute worship of the all-powerful, all-knowing, all-everything male." Eve lifted her finger to the sky in hearty approval. "Hear, hear," she shouted. Meanwhile, at the home offices of Atlas News Service in the heart of the place they called the city, the ego of William G. Cooper, Esquire, was frolicking with the lovely Miss Penelope Posey, the secretary of one Ernest T. Tenney, editor-in-chief of the City Times. She leaned over her desk and eyed Billy with stars in her eyes, just the way he liked it. Penelope had all the goods, all the charm, what the French called l'éclat. "Boss wants to see you on the double, Billy," she said, with it like a star-struck teenager, breathlessly. Billy leaned over the desk and batted a couple of puppy dog eyes at her. "Why be so formal?" he joked. "Call me Mr. Cooper." "Fresh," she giggled. Casually, Billy lifted her chin with his finger. She eyed him mischievously, pressing her heavily gloss-painted lips together. "What's the beef?" he asked her. "Any hints?" Penelope lifted an eyebrow. "It's that piece where you wrote that unmarried females over 21 ought to be shot," she mused. With his hand on the door of the editor's office, Billy sucked in some air and slightly turned back to Penelope. "I never said that," he said. "Exactly." Here he went again, defending himself for opening his big mouth, or his big typewriter. "Wish me luck," he said, as he opened the door. Penelope watched after him and saturated her lips. Luck, if he was going to get reamed out for yet another misogynistic article that grated on the consciences of rising feminists everywhere, he sure was going to need it.